schools as hubs for food services. She says this is the first time that the state is committing to cover breakfast and lunch for children, and they're also working to figure out how to send extra food home with students. Hochul added that federal officials told her she can't do that, and the state will not be reimbursed for the money they're using for this, but she does feel it's an ethical and moral issue.
Because this is the first government shutdown in our history where they did not make an accommodation for food. Every other one, they said, we can make our political points, we can do this, we can do that, air traffic controller, some flights are delayed. Okay, that's all painful and bad. But never before have they literally said, we're going to stop feeding Americans.
Now, Hochul noted this is just not sustainable for the state to cover these costs. She said that federal officials give them about $650 million each month to feed these families on SNAP benefits, and they cannot continue to backfill this. So she's calling on lawmakers to end this shutdown soon. Live in East Harlem, Bianca, back to you.
All right, Haley, thank you for the update. To this now, some developing news. There is some hope today the city will not have to deal with a school bus driver shortage, which could impact thousands of students. More than half of the city's school bus companies have agreed to hold off on layoffs. A 5-year contract extension has been agreed to by vendors in the city, but the panel for education policy still has to sign off on that. That panel was expected to vote on the extension yesterday. Instead, they have postponed it until November 19th. Now, the panel says it wants the new mayoral administration to weigh in on this deal. Education officials say more than half of the city's bus vendors have already signed temporary extensions for November and December. Others still have to agree to a new contract. All right, well, coming up, police in France make several more arrests in the Louvre heist, but there's still no sign of those priceless jewels, the very latest on this investigation. Plus, after Israeli strikes this week reignited the conflict, where things stand now between Israel and Gaza.
Law firm.
So Some developing news for you right now. More arrests overnight in that brazen daylight heist at the Louvre Museum. But French authorities say they still have not recovered these stolen jewels. Fox 5's Lisa Evers is live in the newsroom with the very latest on this investigation. Lisa.
Well, Bianca, quite a story here. The brazen broad daylight heist in one of the most famous museums in the world was an embarrassment to French authorities. But their investigation is moving very fast. Now a total of 7 suspects are in custody, and French prosecutors say there may be more to come. Now, a late-night dragnet across Paris and one of its suburbs captured 5 more suspects authorities say were directly involved in the heist of crown jewels. It happened October 19th in the Apollo Gallery of the Louvre Museum in Paris. The jewels are valued at more than $100 million. The French prosecutor in charge says about 100 investigators have been working 7 days a week to crack the case, and that they now have DNA evidence linking at least one suspect to the actual crime scene. The entire theft took about only 4 minutes using an outdoor basket lift on a truck that allowed the thieves to get through windows and into the gallery. Now, the crown jewels, including a diamond and emerald necklace Napoleon gave to Empress Marie-Louise as a wedding gift, have not been located yet. Only one of the historic pieces and treasures was found, her actual crown, that the crooks dropped as they made their fast getaway. That's the latest from the newsroom. Bianca, back to you.
Well, all right, Lisa, thank you so much. All right, next at noon, President Trump suggests the U.S. could break a decades-long ban and resume testing nuclear weapons. Coming up, details on his comments and what they could mean for the U.S. Also later, we are checking in on the devastating impact of Hurricane Melissa and the recovery efforts now underway across the Caribbean.
Change.
Some developing news now. City council members holding a hearing on the conditions the city's security officers are dealing with. This comes after the summer's Midtown mass shooting that claimed 4 lives. One of them was security guard Alan Etienne. Council members are discussing a Safety and Security Act named after him. Security officers are there discussing how many of them are struggling to pay rent and how they want better access to medical care. A new report indicates many of them are living paycheck to paycheck. Also developing, the city improving the conditions for those who ride the bus. Officials announced a $40 million investment towards installing benches and what's known as leaning bars at nearly 9,000 stops around the city. Work is set to begin next month, but officials say it is expected to take 10 years to complete the project. Only around 5,000 of the city's 15,000 bus stops have provisions for seating, as according to the Transportation Department. And President Trump is on his way back to Washington after a busy few days in Asia. That's where he locked in more trade and investment deals and met with Chinese President Xi Jinping, when the two leaders agreed to ease trade tensions. But there could be another point of contention here on the horizon after Trump announced the U.S. will resume testing its nuclear weapons. Fox's Rebecca Castor has the details from Washington.
I thought it was an amazing meeting. He's a great leader of a very powerful, very strong country, China.
President Donald Trump seemingly satisfied after a sit-down with Chinese President Xi Jinping, saying the U.S. is lowering tariffs on Chinese imports after they reached agreements on fentanyl, U.S. soybeans, and China's rare earth minerals. A much-needed de-escalation in their up-and-down trade war.
It is normal for the two leading economies of the world to have frictions now and then. I'm ready to continue working with you.
But tensions could escalate on a different front. Just before a sit-down with Xi, Trump posted this online. Because of other countries testing programs, I've instructed the Department of War to start testing our nuclear weapons on an equal basis.
If they're going to test, I guess we have to test.
North Korea is the only known country to test nuclear weapons over the past 2 decades. The U.S., China, and Russia all stopped in the 1990s. But last week, Russia tested a new long-range cruise missile capable of carrying nuclear warheads. Despite his order to the Pentagon, Trump is still advocating for denuclearization.
It's something we are actually talking to Russia about that, and China would be added to that if we do something.
A Chinese spokesman urged the U.S. to refrain from any nuclear tests, while a Kremlin spokesman said if any country resumes warhead testing, Russia would respond accordingly. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
Well, after reaffirming its commitment to the ceasefire, Israeli troops struck a weapons storage site in northern Gaza. The IDF says it was intended for use as an attack on Israeli troops. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says his country is committed to achieving a different Gaza, but also retains the ability to remove immediate threats. But the ceasefire remains fragile. Qatar's prime minister says mediators are urging Hamas to disarm and move to the next stage of the peace plan. The second phase includes an international security force who would take the lead on disarming Hamas. And Hurricane Melissa leaving behind a path of destruction after tearing through Cuba. Reports say dozens are dead there, and in Haiti and Jamaica as well. Officials say many houses have also been destroyed in Cuba. Tens of thousands were forced to spend the night in evacuation centers. Cuba had already been dealing with an economic crisis as well. And some much-needed supplies from New York are on the way to Jamaica days before Hurricane Melissa hammered parts of the island nation. The Afia Foundation in Yonkers was already mobilizing its volunteers. That foundation is a nonprofit dedicated to reducing medical supplies from hospitals and reusing them. And volunteers sorted and packed 21 pallets of healthcare essentials that are being sent to Miami right now until the airport reopens in Jamaica. Let's turn now to weather to see what's in store for us this afternoon. A live, dreary look outside, but this is not going to last forever. Let's bring in Liv Johnson at the Weather Center. She has some good news on the way. Liv.
Yes, your Halloween is going to be just fine. It'll be windy. It'll be a little cool, but don't have to worry about that. I just want to go back to Hurricane Melissa for a quick update. So right now, the only place under a hurricane warning is Bermuda, right? We've passed through Cuba, it's passed through Haiti and Jamaica, and a little bit of Turks and Caicos, and nowhere has a tropical storm warning. So we are kind of on the good way out with Melissa, but still a little bit of a ways to go. It's 515 miles southwest of Bermuda. This is as of 11 a.m. It is moving a lot faster at 24 miles per hour. It keeps moving faster, which is a good thing, so that it's in and out of places quickly. Pressure has gotten up to 965 millibars. Now it is back up to a Category 2 storm, so it has gained some strength as we predicted. So winds are back up to 105 miles per hour. It's expected to stay a Category 2 and of course hit Bermuda tonight or this afternoon, and then it'll turn back into a Category 1 by 8 a.m. tomorrow, and it'll continue to move through the Atlantic, eventually turning into a tropical storm, bringing some some rain to Iceland and parts of the UK. So probably kind of a messy week, the beginning of next week. And Melissa's going to go down as one of the strongest hurricanes in history. It ranks third in terms of lowest pressure. It was 892 millibars when it made landfall just a couple of days ago. And we're not completely in the clear, right? We're still in hurricane season. We have exactly another month because it officially ends November 30th. But hopefully this is the last major activity that we see out of the Atlantic. All right, let's go back closer to home. Right now, 57 degrees in New York City. It's a little bit more mild today, a little bit closer to average. 60 out on Long Island. We have mid-50s for places like Hartford and Poughkeepsie, Monticello down into the 40s. And down the shore 61. So these temperatures look a little warmer, but of course it is not a pleasant day outside. Wind speeds are killing us. Right now, 30-mile-per-hour wind speeds consistently in New York City, 23 out on Long Island, 24 down the shore. So really those coastal areas are seeing the windiest conditions, 31-mile-per-hour wind speed for Bridgeport. And then we have some really strong gusts, 40 to 45 miles per hour. That's going to remain today and tomorrow. So that's really the only thing we have to deal with on Halloween night. You might have some decorations flying around. You might have, I don't know, a hat flying off. So just be aware that it is going to be windy, but at least we're not going to have this, right? It's a very messy Thursday. I want to go back to the Futurecast. I know we went over this at the top of the show, but just want to kind of help you time out your day, which is just a mess. Most of it is just a mess. We do see things pick up a little bit, really between now and 4 p.m. We have the strongest rain, showers, thunderstorms. It goes through this evening, so dinner plans are a wash, and then we still have some lingering rain late night as well. It becomes a bit more scattered and light. Then finally, I mean, tomorrow's not a beautiful day by any means, but it will be a little better and it will be dry. 56 degrees for your Halloween. It's a windy weekend, but not too bad for the marathon, a high of 56 and sunny. And then windy conditions just kind of persist for the next few days. Bianca.
That's good. No soggy Halloween costumes. We like it. Liv, thanks so much. All right, next at noon, after controversial linking autism with Tylenol, that study there, Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy is now backpedaling on those comments. What he's now saying about all of this coming up.
Grease getter.
Health and Human Secretary Robert F. Kennedy walking back claims that taking Tylenol during pregnancy causes autism. Speaking at a news conference yesterday, the secretary said he does not have what he called sufficient evidence linking Tylenol to autism. Last month, Kennedy and President Trump warned pregnant women and young children not to take the medicine. Kenvue, the company that makes Tylenol, repeatedly defended the pain medicine, saying there is no scientific link to autism and such suggestions could endanger maternal health. Meanwhile, Eli Lilly is teaming up with Walmart to sell its popular weight loss treatment. The drug maker announced a partnership with the retail giant to sell Zepbound at Walmart pharmacies. The GLP-1 medication can be purchased starting at $349 per month. Eli Lilly has been working on expanding access to Zepbound to compete with competitors Novo Nordisk Wegovy that is already in retailers like Walmart and Costco. All right, there's a new bakery in the West Village that specializes in everything halloumi. Next at noon, we're going to give you a taste of Hello Halloumi. And then later, we are talking football with Good Morning Football overtime host Jamie Erdahl and how the Giants can bounce back from such a tough loss.
It would look like this. But because your agencies deliver for you, a record number of new homes have been created. Streets are safer with crime down citywide. And there's a brand new universal after-school program for our kids. That's how city agencies are delivering for families, making this the very best place for yours. New York City, delivering for you, every day, everywhere.
It is 12:30 right now. Welcome back to the news. We got a whole lot more coming up here on the show, starting with this. As statistics show, more younger women are battling breast cancer. We're going to share one survivor story of the struggles that she endured just to get diagnosed. And then later, we are trying treats from Hello Halloumi. This is a brand new bakery in the West Village that specializes in halloumi cheese. They're doing everything with halloumi. It smells incredible in the studio. We're going to get a taste of it. Stay tuned for that. But first, let's get another live look outside. Womp, womp, womp. I mean, it is, we haven't had rain in a while, so obviously if you're looking outside, you're like, I don't like to deal with the rain, but Liv is saying that there is some good news on the way. It's not going to be like this forever. We got to get through, I don't know, one day of this, and there's some good news for people that love Halloween, so that is
that it's not going to rain.
There we go.
But it's still, I mean, we might as well just go to the halloumi. This is a mess. Like, this is not good. I don't like the live picture. I don't like the satellite radar, but it is what we have to deal with today, okay? At least it's not tomorrow. Plenty of rainfall for us. Let's really just get the bullets down. Cloudy, light rain early. We've already had just kind of a drizzle situation throughout most of the tri-state, a little bit more if you're further west into New Jersey. Heavy rain and storms later. That's kind of starting, but really it's going to be from maybe 1 to 8 p.m. Some coastal flooding we already went through that we have an advisory throughout most of the tri-state area. Anywhere that really touches the water has a coastal flooding advisory or warning. It's windy, but then, like I said, dry Halloween. Right now, 57 degrees in New York. It's a little bit warmer in the Mid-Atlantic, 64 for Philadelphia, 63 for D.C., and then we see 54 for Boston. For the rest of New York State, though, it's looking a lot cooler. Temperatures in the 40s, like Albany, 48, Buffalo, 45. And it's going to be pretty much the same temperature tomorrow. So again, 57 for us, 59 for LaGuardia. Atlantic City a bit warmer, 65. I mean, we are getting a little bit warmer with this moisture in the air compared to yesterday, but we'll still just get up to 61. And of course, you won't enjoy it regardless. If it was sunny in 61, different story, but definitely not today. 63 will be your high out on Long Island. We have 60 for Hartford. We stay in the 50s for places like Poughkeepsie, 59, Monticello, 55, and then we have low 60s throughout New Jersey. So this area of low pressure that's been traveling from the southeast throughout the past 24 hours, that's what's giving us a mess. And it's really kept a lot of its strength. There's Melissa right there. But it's kept a lot of its strength in terms of wind speeds and rainfall. You know, a lot of times they lose some power as they get up to the northeast, but not really the situation today. So again, we have it really stronger in the afternoon hours, but it does last really through the evening. And then tomorrow morning, some of it's kind of lingering up north, but high pressure moves in pretty quickly, and so we'll have a dry Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's not going to calm down in terms of wind speeds, so it'll get a little bit lighter, but still your Friday, I mean, wind gusts 30 to 35 miles per hour. I mean, today they're peaking at 40 to 45, so again, a bit of an improvement, but it's still a gusty Friday, pretty breezy Saturday. But if you're running the marathon on Sunday, pretty nice weather for that. When we look at rainfall totals, pretty significant amounts of rainfall. I think at least an inch throughout New York City and Long Island, a little bit more for some places a little further west. I think Newark could get up to inch and a half. Monticello predicting a couple of inches because most of the system kind of is focused over there for a little bit. But Bridgeport, we're predicting a lot, 1 to 3 inches up to 4. So really, again, we have that coastal flood advisory for places like Bridgeport. So especially at times of high tide, we're watching to see those water levels rise, so just be aware of that. Temperature-wise, I want to get to Halloween once that rain passes through. 8 a.m. tomorrow, pretty cool, but pretty typical for this time of year, pretty consistent with what we've seen this week. 48 degrees when you wake up. Eventually, we'll get back into the upper 50s. The sky does clear up a pretty good bit, but it is still going to be breezy. Again, that's really the only thing we have to deal with tomorrow. Stays windy on Saturday, but plenty more sunshine, 57 degrees. Again, if you're running the marathon on Sunday, 56 and sunny. Then we warm up a little bit for the start of the week, 59 on Monday and 60 on Tuesday. Bianca?
Sounds good, Liv. Thank you so much. Meanwhile, let's turn to this. More and more younger women are being diagnosed with breast cancer. A Long Island woman who was diagnosed in her 30s is sharing her story. This is to raise awareness and to give hope to other women that they too can beat cancer. Fox 8's Jody Goldberg has more.
Christina Amatrano was 34, and while she had no symptoms or discomfort, she wanted a baseline mammogram, but she was turned away.
They said insurance doesn't cover it under New York state law until you're 35.
A year later, the same screening she originally couldn't get found something she never expected.
They called me the next day, and they said I had 2 suspicious lesions that they had to biopsy.
In 2020, during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, Christina was diagnosed with stage 2 triple-positive breast cancer, an aggressive form that doctors say can grow fast and spread silently.
He told me that he would have never felt it because it was back towards my chest wall.
She went through chemo, radiation, and 2 lumpectomies at Stony Brook Cancer Center.
The healthcare workers were so wonderful to me, and it meant a lot to me.
Today, she's 40 and cancer-free, but her oncologist, Dr. Jules Cohen, says her story reflects a troubling trend.
The risk of breast cancer in women under 50 has been increasing over the last 20 years. And it seems to have increased by somewhere around 0.5% per year, which is about, 1 out of every 200 people.
Now, breast cancer is the most common cancer among women in the United States, making up about 1 in every 3 new cases each year. And while treatments continue to improve, the American Cancer Society expects more than 40,000 women will die from the disease this year alone.
There may be exposure to certain carcinogens in the environment that increase the risk of breast cancer. People have been talking about microplastics. There could be hormones in the food supply. The later you have your first child, that does slightly increase your risk of breast cancer.
Christina's message is strong and simple.
Early detection is the only thing that can really save lives.
And her story is proof that persistence and prevention can make all the difference. In Stony Brook, Long Island, Jody Goldberg, Fox 5 News.
Well, next at noon, are you starting to think about your weekend plans? We are taking a look at the new offerings that you can find on streaming or in theaters this weekend. Plus, Netflix drops a trailer for Stranger Things Season 5. We got a sneak peek coming up. Well, Netflix releases the full trailer for the 5th and final season of Stranger Things. Take a look.
We're really starting to lose it. Being stuck in here, no end in sight.
All right, the new season will be released in 3 parts all around holiday weekends. Volume 1 on November 26th, consisting of 4 episodes. Volume 2 on Christmas, consisting of 3 episodes. And the finale on New Year's Eve. Each is going to drop at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Meanwhile, from a Halloween adventure to a classic re-release, we have a look at what is new in theaters and streaming. Here is Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
You shall be my greatest creation ever! In theaters this Halloween is the animated adventure Stitchhead, a twist on the tale of Frankenstein. The story follows a forgotten creature living in an abandoned castle, awoken by a mad professor, and tasked with protecting other creations from suspicious town people.
She hit someone with her car.
Hello Road stars Rosamund Pike and Matthew Rhys as parents on a night spiraling out of control as they race to help their daughter who hit another young woman with her father's car.
You know I'm not an alien.
Emma Stone leads Begonia by director Yorgos Lanthimos about two conspiracy theorists who kidnap a high-powered CEO, convinced she's an alien trying to destroy the planet.
I think it was the family business that killed him.
Set in the Ozarks, Violent Ends with Billy Magnuson is about a man brought up in a crime family trying to make a peaceful life when he's suddenly pulled back into the family business.
What did you even know about this girl?
Diane Lane and Kyle Chandler are part of the thriller Anniversary, as heads of a close-knit family caught in a rising movement called The Change when a woman reappears in their lives and starts dating their son. Plus, hop into those DeLoreans and fire up the flux capacitor to 1.21 gigawatts to join Marty and Doc at the movies. Back to the Future is celebrating a 40th anniversary with a theatrical re-release.
We're sending you back to the future.
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
All right, next at noon, we're going to talk to Good Morning Football Overtime host Jamie Erdahl. We're going to discuss how the Giants are going to bounce back after the loss of their star rookie running back, Cam Scattaboo, this Sunday against the Niners. And then also coming up, we're going to give you a taste of Manhattan's newest halloumi bakery called Hello Halloumi, and we're trying some of their best items. You don't want to miss this.
Fox.
Well, an emotional scene in Philadelphia last Sunday. The Giants players surrounding rookie Cam Scattaboo, who suffered a horrific ankle injury. He had to be carted off the field. Joining us now for more on the Giants and Jets is co-host of Good Morning Football Overtime, Jamie Erdahl. Jamie, thanks for chatting with us.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
And obviously, we cannot forget Fox 8 sports producer Lou Albanese is going to be kicking and screaming a little bit later. But, Jamie, let's start with this. I feel like we might have to take some responsibility for this injury because we were just talking about it before it happened. Lou said the only thing that needs to happen now is he has to stay safe. He has to stay safe, and then this is what happened. This is a big loss for the team. Maybe you could explain how big of a loss this is.
It's huge. And I think we were all saying that because it seemed like he was like to stick his nose into dirty places on the football field. And we're like, no, protect yourself, Cam. The fact that it ended on one of his ankles is absolutely heartbreaking and tragic. He seemed like the emotional touchstone and personality of this team. I think the way he was playing and the story of Cam Scatterbo, he would have gone on to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Somebody was in my social media mentioned saying we should still vote him to the Pro Bowl so he can experience it in his rookie season. This is absolutely heartbreaking for Jackson Dart and the rest of the Giants.
Well, I'll tell you something. Jackson Dart, best friends, we all know that. They're very close, and he was really emotionally lost by it. But he's played well at home. Does he bounce back this week because they're home, or is this now going to really derail his season? And that's what the Giants can't afford.
I think if I was of any influence in that Giants building and if Cam Scatterbo was up to it, I would put him on his little wheelie scooter and get him down on that field within a safe distance away from the bench and on that sideline. I think having somebody like that for the fans, for the team, you know, Brian Daboll's already saying that Scatterbo's wheeling around the building. Get him down there on the field, even for a pregame wave. I think that would help Jackson, and I think that would help the team.
Yeah, there's some great memes. What do you call them? Memes? Memes with him being scoring touchdowns in his wheelchair. That looks great.
Jamie, if we do see that Sunday, we're going to attribute that to you. But let's get to the Jets now, which is Lou's favorite team to talk about. They got their first win of the season. They're now on their bye week. These guys get to let their bodies rest a little bit. But let's talk about that momentum, though. They got to carry that into the next game against the Browns. How do you do that?
Well, I know the old football adage is on to the next, on to the next. I cannot stress that needs to be the opposite approach that the Jets have to do ahead of this game. They need to bottle whatever happened at the end of that Bengals game and take it in. They need to embody their head coach. They need to take advantage of a rookie quarterback in Dylan Gabriel, pick him off, put defensive points on the board, special team points. Just score, build, build, build. That's all you can hope for this Jets season.
All right, we know the Jets season has been scary. It's made for Halloween. Now, Halloween's tomorrow, so everybody Jet fan can go dress up as Jets and scare their neighbors. But before I ask you what you guys are doing for Halloween, let's take a little clip of what you did last year.
I'm flying, I jump, you can't look my boat, you hump, woo, I'm major, I roar, I swear I'm not a whore.
Okay. Do you remember that clip? I just happened to stumble upon it.
That. Yes, Sherry Burris and I were the lead characters from Bring It On. I feel quite proud of that because Gabrielle Union reposted. I did not get the Kirsten Dunst repost, but she did repost that video. Every year, this is my 4th Halloween on the show, this GMFB, and I have tried to be a female and football adjacent. I just can't bring myself to dress up like as a player. I talk about the 365. I can't do that as a player or a coach. So my first year, I was a legendary journalist, Leslie Visser. My second year, I was pregnant Rihanna from the Super Bowl because I myself was pregnant. Then since I was in Hollywood my first season, I was the ladies from Bring It On. And tomorrow, I will not disclose what I shall be. However, my blue fingernails can lead to be a clue. Okay. I don't know if it's Giants, Seahawks, Colts, but, you know, stay tuned on Good Morning Football.
I was thinking in a completely different area here of the costume. But, Jamie, we're going to have to tune in to find out.
Yeah, that's a big tease.
Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. We'll chat soon.
Absolutely.
All right, we got more noon straight ahead. Stay with us. Can you smell that in the?
Yeah, I could.
It smells like halloumi.
And I can't smell anything.
We're talking about it coming up, and we're tasting it. Stay with us.
Smells great. Trust me, you can't eat it, but you can smell it.
All right, the West Village is known for great bakeries, but this one is doing something very different. It is called Hello Halloumi, and they've built an entire menu around one-star ingredient. And it's not what you would expect from a bakery. Joining us now from Hello Halloumi is owner Constantino Papadakis and baker Eleni Luca. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
All right, Constantino, I'm going to start with you. You must love cheese so much that you're like, I'm going to build a whole bakery around this specific kind of cheese.
I do love cheese, and I love halloumi more than anything else. And it is such a good ingredient for everything, so it just made so much sense.
Okay, so Eleni, maybe you should make sure the audience knows when we're talking about halloumi, this is not just your everyday regular kind of cheese. Maybe explain to us why this is the star to the bakery.
This is the star because, first of all, it's very versatile. It is delicious. It's salty, more on the salty side. It comes with different textures.
Yeah.
And you can use it as a star of the show for any plate. Even you can put it over pasta like you would with a Parmesan. You can put it in fillings like we have here. You can make it sweet. You can make it savory. So it's very versatile.
Okay, so the fact that if we try to make this kind of cheese here in America, we would not be able to call it halloumi, correct?
Correct. So halloumi is produced in Cyprus and is protected by the European Union.
Yeah.
So to call it halloumi, it has to be imported from Cyprus.
So you're importing a lot of cheese from Cyprus then?
Well, hopefully more and more as you go.
That is awesome. Okay, so let's talk about some of the stuff that you have here on the menu. What's been a fan favorite so far?
So fan favorites are the three cheese. It has a little bit of feta and halloumi in there. Yeah, go
feta
for it.
and halloumi.
And then we have a little tree too.
Oh, I mean, I'm obsessed with cheese. So
it's cheesy, right?
As soon as I saw this pop up, I was like, oh, we got to get them on the show. That is so good.
I love it.
And then
this is,
what do you have here?
This is grilled cheese halloumi sandwich. So,
oh my gosh, my
like
comfort
cheese,
food is a grilled cheese. Oh, get out of here. This is so good.
Awesome. Yeah, so we put a little bit of other stuff like pesto and tomato, but you're basically just eating halloumi right now.
I'm going to put you a little piece right here as well. This is some grilled halloumi, which is one of our favorite ways to have it.
And I think a little interesting fact about this cheese is it doesn't melt correctly. You can't actually melt it.
Correct. It has a very high melting point, which is why it's so thick. And
a little piece.
There you go.
This is so good. If you love cheese, this is something you have to check out. You guys are very new to West Village. How has it been received?
So we opened last week. I thought when I started this concept I would have to educate people on halloumi, but literally people come for halloumi. I didn't realize it's so out there. And it just, we had great reception. The shop has been selling out every day since we opened last week.
Yeah.
So I think people love the concept. Yeah, it's halloumi,
that is so cool.
It's savory.
Okay, this is so good. Now I got to wash it down with a drink.
Yes.
And I'm looking at this. This is so cute. You guys have what are the drinks you have? Because you serve a couple of drinks, right? Coffee and different things as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have our own coffee program. Our partner brings the coffee beans from Ethiopia, Guatemala, brings them green, roasts them in-house, and then we sell them at the store. And also we have some Greek kind of from back home Cyprus drinks. Go for it.
So this is called triandafilo, which is basically rose petal. And it tastes like roses. This is mixed with milk, but what we do is create our own foam at Hello Halloumi, and we top it like a milk foam.
Wait, the fact that I can do this salty and then go to this sweet is, yeah, that's a beautiful pairing.
That's exactly
So first of all, I'm just so impressed by the fact that the halloumi thing is a whole bakery in itself. Are your suppliers in Cyprus being like, calm down, we don't have that much cheese to give you?
So exactly, yeah. We're now talking about getting more pallets out here, getting more product, because it's the first time that they're exporting so much halloumi in the U.S.
Wow, that is awesome. Any plans for another location?
I hope so. That's the plan.
I know. You just opened last week. We're getting ahead of ourselves over here. Okay, so where can people come find you? Obviously, you guys got merch and stuff like that. Where can people come check you guys out?
So we're at 48 Greenwich Avenue in the West Village. We're right on the avenue. You can see us right as you walk in.
Oh, Constantine, thank you so much. Both of you, Eleni, for bringing this cheese. I'm taking both of the cheeses to go. We got more noon. Straight ahead. Stay with us. right, chocolate lovers and even couch potatoes, listen to this. A study in the Journal of Physiology indicates cocoa, berries, and apples help prevent blood vessel problems caused by sitting too much. And researchers are saying that is because these items are high in flavonols. Plums, nuts, black, and green teas are also good sources of flavonols as well. All right, let's get a final check of the forecast. I feel so cheesed up right now. I am cheesy. That cheese was so good. The one thing that's not cheesy is the weather today.
I know, and I need to try some of that. It looks amazing. Yeah, it's not a great day. Maybe you can have some hot cocoa. I mean, it's not that cold, but it's a good day to stay inside because it's rainy. It's very windy. So I just want to go back to these wind speeds right now. Almost 30 miles per hour consistently in New York. The whole tri-state is very breezy, gusting closer to 40, 45 miles per hour. Look at Bridgeport right now. 48 mile per hour wind gusts. So that's a huge weather maker that we have, and that's going to continue for the next couple of days. So even though the rain is in and out today, we still have breezy conditions for your Halloween and also for your Saturday. Gets a little better on Sunday. In terms of rainfall totals, 1 inch to 3 inches throughout most of the tri-state area. That's kind of our best bet. Some places will get a little bit less. You can see Hartford and Poughkeepsie, we're predicting a little bit less. But either way, still going to be a messy day no matter where you are. Lows tonight, 52 in New York, mid-40s throughout most of the tri-state. So it's a little bit warmer for an overnight low compared to really what we've seen throughout the week. And then tomorrow we go down just a little bit. We'll be in the mid-50s for our highs. Stay there for the weekend. Don't forget, clocks set back Saturday into Sunday. It's daylight saving. And then a beautiful marathon Sunday, I think, 56 and sunny.
That is beautiful. All right, so dry for Halloween. So any hints on what you're going to be for Halloween tomorrow?
It does involve rabbit ears.
All right, I love it, Liv. We have to stay tuned, obviously, on social media to see what she's going to be. All right, that is our show. But before we go, here's one last thing to leave you with. Dictionary.com has revealed its word of the year, but it's actually, oh my God, it's actually 2 numbers. 6-7. The website says the nonsensical slang made popular by Gen Alpha apparently started as a rap lyric about a street name in Chicago. In the songs Doot Doot by rapper Skrilla, 6-7 refers to 67th Street as it spread across social media. It just blew up. It is wildfire. Now everyone wants to say it, and no one still knows what it means. But we'll see you tomorrow. 25 words or less is next. And if you want more news, tune in.
Remember when you were a kid, how much you would eat then, how much food you need, and we've seen other avenues where the government has tried to fill in the gap here with schools here in New York City opening up earlier in the morning so that kids could get a good breakfast before they go to school. Having 2 lunches, they'd have what they call 2 lunches. Some of the schools have the regular lunch at the regular lunchtime, and then they have what they call a second lunch that the kids can take home, which for some of these children, especially the 150,000 kids in New York City who are living in homeless shelters, this can actually turn out to end up and be their dinner. So the SNAP program is set to end on as it has existed on this Saturday, November 1st. The government shutdown is affecting it. They want to change the rules of it, where everybody has to basically, it sounds like re-register. Don't quote me on that one, but they have to go through another re-registration process. So New York Governor Kathy Hochul announced today that she was fast-tracking $30 million in order to supply food to the food banks throughout the state, because this is obviously a statewide problem. When you're talking about 3 million people, that is a huge number of people. And then when you're thinking 2/3 of them are kids, that's a lot of children. So the food that they give out at these food pantries that we've seen in many of them, I've done a number of stories on them. It's basically they make sure that people get food bags full of fresh produce, that they get some sort of protein, that they get what they call shelf-stable milk, so that they can have that on hand in the house, because especially for people that are in very, very dire economic circumstances, they may not have refrigeration. If they're in a shelter, they may not have a refrigerator that's working in the room that they're staying in. So they give them shelf-stable milk. They try to give them other staple, what they call pantry staples, if they have cooking facilities, like noodles, like rice, beans, those type of things. Any canned foods that can that can feed a family and that can really make the meal stretch. So, and of course, fresh breads, a lot of things. They really do an amazing. These pantries really do an amazing job. It's not just like, oh, here, take an orange, or here, take an apple, take this, take this. They really have a system, and they give out the food to people who really, really need it. So that's the wonderful thing about it. But this $30 million is going to go to fund the pantries, because one of the things that we've been hearing from some of the major organizations, the nonprofits here in New York City, that run the pantries, that run the citywide pantries and the pop-up pantries, is that they have an unbelievable demand, that demand has never been this high. And it's, for some people too, you have to understand, for some people who, when it comes to feeding your family, it's like first you got to pay your rent or you got to pay your mortgage, and then you have to pay for whatever, emergency medical things or medications are needed for you or for your children. And then the food, and then the numbers at the end of the month or even during the month just don't add up. So these food pantries have really been bearing the brunt of this increased demand. So the governor fast-tracked that money, so that should be coming to the food pantries very, very soon, and that's good news for them. Governor Hochul also advising people, because of this change in eligibility and the requirements for benefits, she's urging you if you're a SNAP recipient, to continue with that process, to file whatever you need to file, even though the government is shut down, so that you will be in the queue to have your case reviewed or to have your application activated once the shutdown is over. But we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, our own Liv Johnson's going to join us, and we're going to find out Halloween weekend, New York City Marathon weekend here in New York. We're going to find out what the weather's going to be like for the trick-or-treaters, because there's a lot of stormy weather circulating around us. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to Newsroom Live. Today, Newsroom Live with Lisa. I'm Lisa Evers, a Fox 5 News anchor and reporter. We're here in the newsroom. We're joined by my colleague, Liv Johnson, who's going to give us a whole breakdown on the whole weather situation that we're facing, what it's looking like. But first, I wanted to share some breaking news with you that we just got into our newsroom here, that there's currently a ground stop underway at JFK Airport, at Kennedy Airport here in New York City. We're told that it's due to some type of aircraft emergency. We don't know if that's one plane, multiple planes. We don't know if it's possibly weather related. We don't know what the cause is, but there is a ground stop in effect. And the latest information that we have is that advisory will be in effect until 1:45. So if you have people, that doesn't mean you can go later to the airport if you have a flight. It just means that's what's happening right now. So that's obviously going to cause some delays. But as soon as we get more information, we'll be bringing it to you. But right now, I want to turn to Liv, and while we have her for a couple of minutes in between all of our forecasts, and find out what's happening with the weather today.
Ugh, nothing good. Nothing good.
I know, I can tell.
It's a mess, you guys. It's raining.
Right.
It's very windy. I mean, yeah, that about sums it up. You
Fog.
won't even see the sun. Yeah,
Right.
It's just cloudy. It's a little warmer. At least it's not like a big temperature drop. Temperatures are actually in the upper 50s and low 60s, so it's warmer. But then if you go outside, you're going to be blown away by wind and rained on. So, tough day.
Oh, nice. So,
yeah.
And then you have the fog, the wind, the whole,
Yeah.
it's just kind of a gloomy.
There's our satellite. It's just taking over the entire northeast Pennsylvania. New Jersey got it a little earlier than New York. And this system traveled from the southeast, so it's made an entire mess of the East Coast.
So like a comfort food alert. People, it's kind of
Yes.
weather you go and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, I really need soup, I need this,
bring
I
out
need
some
that.
soup if you can. Oh, imagine working from home. That would be nice on a day like today. Yeah, so a lot of rainfall too, pretty significant amounts. It's been pretty light in New York City so far, but it's going to get heavier. Could see a couple of thunderstorms mixed in. And then Halloween, which of course everyone cares about.
Yeah, that's what I want to ask you about. What about Halloween?
So the rain will be gone. It'll be done by, I would say, like midnight tonight. I mean, maybe there's a lingering sprinkle early tomorrow, but you'll be fine for your commute. Halloween will be dry, but it is going to be really windy.
Like these crazy winds that we've had where
like
it just
30 mile per hour.
Oof.
Right now we're gusting to like 40 miles per hour. It will be a little bit better than right now, but the bar is so low that, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for the kids going out trick or treating, the witches' capes will be blowing in the wind. And
Yes. As if you have like a big hat that might
fall off.
And like people's Halloween decorations too.
Well, that's the thing.
Hopefully they're sturdy. I mean, it could be worse. It could be that the rain, sticks with us, but that's not going to happen. So we just have to deal with the wind.
All right. Well, the wind. So that's forewarned.
Yes.
People know.
Yeah.
Make sure everything's kind of secure
Right.
on the lawn.
Yes,
and
exactly.
that the kids' outfits and all the costumes. But what about Sunday? Is the famous
Right,
New York
Marathon
City
Sunday.
Marathon?
I know.
That's all. Weather is always a big deal because it affects the
Right.
runners. Obviously, they're outside
Right.
for such a long period of time. What's it looking like for Sunday? Do we know?
Yeah, actually pretty good. It's a high of about 56, sunshine. It's still going to be breezy the next couple of days, but Sunday is supposed to be, it'll be a breeze here and there, but not a big weather maker like it is today. So pretty mild. I mean, if it were me running, I'd be really cold in the mornings because they have to get up so early. So of course it will be really chilly when they go out to race, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. But it'll warm up to 56. It'll be sunny. So really not bad conditions. If I were running 26 miles, I feel like that's pretty good.
That's a pretty good.
weather,
It's not too hot, not too
Yes,
cold,
yes.
and the rain and not too much with the wind. And then what about this tragic hurricane that just blew
Melissa,
through
yeah.
the Caribbean and left so much damage?
Right.
Is that completely? Are we completely done with it?
No, we still have Bermuda that's expecting to be hit. It strengthened back up to a Category 2. It was a Category 1 later yesterday afternoon, and then today went back up to Category 2, so it's going to hit Bermuda tonight. But, everywhere else is in the clear. Turks and Caicos, Cuba, Jamaica, all those places now
Through
have
the
to go
worst of
through
it.
the recovery.
Right.
But, now Bermuda will be hit, and then it'll go up into the Atlantic. And what's crazy, it will travel all the way up and hit Iceland as a tropical storm. So just like it'll be a rainy Monday in Iceland, so it's not going to be bad, but it travels so far.
Is that typical that it travels that far? Or is that,
well,
you've heard of that before?
It depends on the path. Like, a lot of times it takes a harder right.
It goes out to the ocean,
Yeah,
right?
and goes out into the ocean. So, yeah, I mean, I haven't really seen one
that long.
Right, travel from the Caribbean all the way up into the UK.
Right.
But, yeah.
All right.
We're through the worst of it.
And then when does hurricane season end for us?
November
Or for the
30th. So
Oh,
we have
wow.
one more month. We're not completely in the clear. It peaks September 10th. So, I mean, fingers crossed this was our big bad hurricane of the year. And, you know, it'll be quiet through the rest of the season. Because we haven't had, most of them haven't really made landfall. So it's been like pretty active, but hasn't had consequences for us until really this one. So, yeah, one more month.
One more month and we'll see what happens. But all the recovery, I know in Jamaica today they're saying the airport's reopening there, so people will be able to at least get for rescue workers to come in, food, you know, help, aid for the people, and all of that. But well, Liv, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank
We
you,
really
Lisa.
appreciate it. Thank you for checking in. And we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back after this. Hey everybody, welcome back to Newsroom Live. Today it's Newsroom Live with Lisa. I'm Lisa Evers, Fox 5 News reporter and anchor, host of Street Soldiers, which you can check out on right here on Fox Local, Fridays at 4:30. And what we want to talk about right now is this museum heist at the Louvre in Paris. This is not just any museum, as many of you know. This is one of the most famous museums in the world. It's a huge, tremendous source of pride for French people, for the nation, for the French government. And then they had this heist on October 19th. And it wasn't some high-tech type of heist like you see in an Ocean's 11 type of movie or Tom Cruise where they're, you know, there's laser beams and they have to go in between these laser beams in order to get in. They actually got a truck that had like a lift on the back of it, the type of lift that you use when you're moving furniture and you're bringing the furniture into a higher floor through windows. That's what they used. So the other fact of it was on the morning of the 19th in Paris, and they actually just went right up there to the windows, went through the windows. You can see a picture of that right now, the outside of the museum. The ladder goes right up to the windows. They go through the windows, they start cutting the glass on the cases, and they walk away with $102 million worth of these crown jewels and these treasures, including this diamond and emerald necklace that Napoleon gave to his wife. And it's just, these are treasures for them as well historically. It's not just jewelry. I mean, it's gorgeous jewelry, but it also has a very big historic value. So they still haven't found the jewels. And early this morning, overnight actually in Paris, when it was overnight there, they did a dragnet throughout the city, and then also through some of the suburbs. They brought in 5 more suspects in this heist, so that brings the number of suspects that they have in custody to 7. They believe there may be more involved, and they're trying to find out if this was part of an organized ring. They don't believe that it was an inside job, investigators, according to the French prosecutor, but the only piece of jewelry that they were able to recover was a tiara from the Empress, Napoleon's wife, which they just kind of like fell on the ground or the floor as they were making their fast getaway and their escape. So that's the only piece of jewelry from this Apollo Gallery, which is the section of the Louvre that all of these jewels were displayed in. But it's just incredible that they were able to do this in broad daylight. And it wasn't even security system when the police finally arrived there that alerted authorities to the fact that this heist was going on. It was a cyclist who went by and saw it, and he or she is the one that tipped off police. But that's the latest on the heist. More people in custody, and there may be more to come. This is Newsroom Live. I'm Lisa Evers. We'll be back. Welcome back to Newsroom Live. Today it's Newsroom Live with Lisa. I'm Lisa Evers, Fox 5 News reporter and anchor. And one of the things that people are talking about, one of the biggest topics of conversation here in New York City right now, anywhere you go, is this mayoral race. People are asking, what's going on, Lisa? What's happening? What's it looking like? The long and the short of it, the answer is, not that much has really changed. You still have Zoran Mamdani, the Democratic candidate, who's a self-avowed Democratic socialist. Look at this poll here from Marist University, 48%. He's been in the mid to high 40s pretty much the whole campaign. You see Andrew Cuomo, he's doing very well in the Marist poll. This is 32%. He's usually more in the mid 20s range. And Curtis Lee at 16%, that's a little bit on the low side for where he's been running. He's been running at times up to 20 or low 20s. Now let's take a look at the next poll here. Okay, you have Emerson College. Look at this poll. You have Mamdani 50%. There's other polls that have put him in that 50% range. There was one earlier at the end of last week, a Fox News poll of registered voters put him at 50% of the vote. And Andrew Cuomo, 25%. Sliwa doing a little better in this one at 21%. But Andrew Cuomo still calling for Curtis Sliwa to drop out of the race, continuing his mantra. There he is with Mayor Adams at an event this morning that happened today right here in New York City, and trying to get out there. And one thing we've been talking about in the newsroom about the Cuomo campaign is that he did, in terms of the actual campaigning that is typically done in New York City, being a lot of events, being at events, which Sliwa and Mamdani have both been doing a lot for all the way through the campaign, is Cuomo has not been as visible in a lot of the communities. He's gone out a lot more in the last couple of weeks, but he hasn't had a rigorous, let's just say, a rigorous campaign schedule compared to the other two candidates. So the real shocker was the Suffolk poll that came out earlier this week, or was the end of last week, that really put Cuomo within 10 points of Mamdani. That is the highest ranking and the lowest difference in any of the polls that we've seen throughout this. But it's just like the ranking of them in the polls has just seemed to be so intransigent. It has not moved at all. I mean, it moves up a little bit, they move down a little bit depending on the poll. The only one that really got people saying, wait a minute, what's going on here? Is this something new? Is this a new movement? Is this poll that put the Suffolk poll that put Cuomo only 10 points behind Mamdani, but that has not been echoed or repeated in any of these other polls that are out there. And in fact, in some, Mamdani's gone even up, in that 50%, around that 50%, 51% number among registered voters. So it's really interesting. We know that Election Day is going to be Tuesday. A lot of people are saying, well, anything could happen. Right now, to many people, they're saying Zohran Mamdani, with all the questions that remain about him, the lack of experience that was highlighted in the last debate, where Cuomo said, you were an assemblyman, what laws did you pass? He said none. Cuomo hammered him about having a poor attendance record, all of these types of things. It has not seemed to affect those numbers in the polls. Now, the question that a lot of people are asking, are we seeing some of the things that we saw happen in the last presidential race, where people maybe felt that they had to answer, they wanted to do what was popular? Kamala Harris at that time, the Democratic presidential candidate, had a lot of momentum digitally and social media. She had a lot of celebrities endorsing her. Were people saying they were voting for her just because they thought that was the right thing to do, and they really ended up not voting for her in extreme numbers? Was it just more of a social media hype as opposed to actual voters physically going out and doing the voting and waiting online and doing all that? Now, we're still in the middle of early voting. We've been seeing very, very high numbers, and some would say on some days record high numbers for turnout in the early voting process here in the mayoral race here in New York City. So who does that benefit? Well, there are people that say that benefits Zohran Mamdani. You look at the neighborhoods, Brooklyn, where Mamdani is very, very strong. They had over 100,000 people doing early voting. That's a lot for that particular borough. You look at some of the other numbers. Queens was strong as well. Staten Island, Manhattan, everything seemed to be much stronger than usual in terms of the turnout. So who does that benefit? We probably won't find out until next Tuesday, November 4th. But we're following all the developments here. Candidates are out on the campaign trail trying to just get that edge, get that advantage, maybe even land that knockout blow to one of their opponents that's really going to give them a boost with their own potential voters and constituents. We're following it all very, very closely here in the Fox 5 newsroom. You can always find out the latest on the Fox local app. Our team here, our digital team here, and newsroom news team keeping you updated on what's going on there. And of course, on the news block at 4 o'clock, Fox 5 News at 5 and 6 and 10, news block at 8 p.m. in the evening. We've got you covered with what the latest developments are. But that's the latest here from the newsroom. And I think we're just about out of time, right? Or we got a little more time? Okay, good. All right. So, there's also an issue sometimes of weather. There's some people who've said, early voting, they've seen a lot of senior citizens out there, which people are interpreting as being very helpful to Andrew Cuomo. Other people are saying, you know what, Mamdani's had a very good ground game since the very beginning. And he's had a lot of canvassing, he's had a lot of volunteers going door to door in a lot of communities, whether they were considered, you know, prime Mamdani communities or not, trying to make him go, trying to make him more popular and more familiar to the various constituents of those districts. But that's the latest on the mayoral race. And just for your information, a ground stop remains in effect until 1:45 this afternoon at JFK Airport because of an issue with a plane. We're not sure exactly what it is or how much weather. You can see that shot there, how foggy it is right there. But we'll be following that closely for you as well and bring you the latest developments here from the Fox 5 newsroom, both on the Fox Local app as well as on the Fox News programs throughout the afternoon. But thank you very much for joining me. You can follow me on X, Lisa Evers, on Instagram at Lisa Evers, at Facebook, Lisa Evers, and Lisa Evers Live on TikTok for more. But thanks for joining us. Have a really wonderful afternoon. Take care.